What the heck? What's up, everybody? Oh, hello. I don't know why. Oh, there it is. Interesting. Okay, I know why now. I didn't know why the music shut off, but now I do. Well, what's up, everybody? Hello. How are we doing? Ink Charm, what's up? Hello, ahoy, as it is. The commands are working. Well, some of them are in there that shouldn't be, but that's probably my fault. And by probably, I mean definitely. Let's see. We can get rid of that really easy, though. Disable those. Boop, boop, boop. And attack and defense and all that are gone now. All right. I'm trying not to just spam all of them to try it out. Hey, look, you can do that. Most of them work, or at least they should. I spent a good amount of time and effort and energy yesterday on the bot, and I think it's in a good spot currently, honestly. Also, the keen-eyed among you will notice that this is also live on Twitch. What are attack and defense, and why'd you rob me of them immediately? Because they're work in progress, and they shouldn't have been shown in the first place. But this is live on Twitch, and just because it's only live because I wanted to tell all Twitch people, hello, I am live, as always, at 11:30 every single weekday. However, this is a special members-only stream. So if you want to join, you'll have to become a member on YouTube. That will be the only place that this is streamed, but the VOD will be public. Afterwards, the VOD will not be members only, so you can go and watch there. With that, I'm going to end the Twitch stream. Goodbye, Twitch. And there we go. So long. More views. Okay. So with that, I don't know how long this stream will be. Oh my goodness, the freaking music. Wait, let's put it on a little bit. A little bit in the background. But I don't know. Even as a mod, I can't watch stream without being a member, Inc. Oh, really? I didn't know that. YouTube chat doesn't show on the screen, but Twitch chat is showing up. Oh, that's true. Sometimes Truffle takes a sec to catch up. I am looking at potentially a different solution. I still think that Truffle is cool because, if you guys get it on your end, it normally works after like a little bit of like processing. And if you guys get it on your end, then you can see both chats locally, not just on screen. But I have a potentially better solution for on screen that I'm working on. But yeah, I don't know exactly how long this'll go, because this is sort of meant to be a not low effort day. What's the word? A low talk day. This is normally when I would do my my no cam, no mic streams are these days. So I don't plan on this being too long. Censoring me personally, I see how it is. That's obviously it, Ink Charm. You got it. All right, and we have a couple of episodes to process. We basically have episode 44 through 47. What up, Deadly? How's it going, Deadly? So first, we will take a look. I'm gonna turn down the music even more. We'll take a look at episode 44 first. So, I think the very first thing, and actually I'm going to swap the orientation on these. There we go. So the first thing that we have is that, well, trying to see. I think I need to move chat. Need to move chat to like up there so that way you won't be able to see the very top of this, but you don't really need to. And then you can see everything horizontally. Haven't been able to join in much lately, but I'm hoping to catch more streams next week. Hell yeah. We have been trucking forward successfully, but it will be good to have you. Let's see. We have had some new folks joining in. It's been cool. What am I doing? Oh yeah, KevDeck. I wanted to make because it definitely seems that that KevDeck will be a thing. Where did I put KevDeck in allies? I shouldn't have. If I did. Let's see, not KevDeck. Did I? Oh, is this a real fake? Yeah, it's real fake. Okay, KevDeck. Oh no. All right. So KevDeck is Grog's uncle. It was fun having completely new people in the BG3 stream. It was super fun. BG3 definitely got some new folks. The what was it called? Kukuro had some new folks. Yeah, bit of branching out in the audience, which has been really fun. Let's see. Currently has the Titan Stone Knuckles, and we'll get to this later, but also leads, or one of the leaders of, and I don't think we've heard the name of it yet. I'm just gonna call it Grog's Herd, because we haven't heard the name of it yet. A group of Goliaths. A group of Goliaths. Grog's original, I don't know, faction. Currently believe Grog to be dead. Currently believe Grog to be dead. Okay. And that's pretty much all we really know about KevDeck. Yeah, I think so. Kukuro will always get you random new viewers because if you own the game, you can see who is currently streaming Kukuro through the game client, and especially with Dungeon, lots of people joined a level. That's fair. It was really, really fun. I absolutely can see why people do that, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Let's see, we've got Marrowglade Loch. Marrowglade Loch. Lake/pond containing a temple to the Raven Queen. Not really much else to say about it. Contains some sort of beastie. We don't know exactly what it was, but it contained something. And then Raven Queen Temple contained the Deathwalker's Ward. There we go. I watched some of the VOD for the BG3 stream. The ending isn't what I expected you to have taken, but I think you mentioned redoing it. Yeah, I will absolutely redo it. I really I very much misinterpreted what would happen. with the ending because yeah, I felt like a big old prick afterward, and I was like, oh man, maybe this is like a racial like unique way to save Karlak, like taking the trip to the astral sea where she won't age. That was not it. That was not it at all. So yeah, I will definitely be redoing that at some point. Just not this week. That might be next Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know how much you care about spoilers for alternative endings, but I have a lot to say about the Emperor because he's a weird character for sure. Yeah, man. I don't know. Maybe we have a discussion whenever I do the alternate ending because I am kind of curious, but I also do want to play through alternative endings. But the ending that I got was I certainly I felt the rails a lot. Like there was very much like, okay, you're getting directed in, this direction. And especially with, I don't know, the Emperor as a whole is kind of weird. I don't disagree. I might do more of a thing on it at some point, but yeah, I agree. The Emperor is very weird. Let's see. I'm debating if I should make my own thing for Pervan. I don't think I will. Why not? I guess why not? We'll make a special one for Pervan. Pervan Sul, champion of the Raven Queen at some point in the past. Let's see. Threatening factions outside of Vasselheim. That's right. So I'm gonna throw these in the Vasselheim article, I think. That's the general layout. Current state is still chilling, I would say. Orc tribes to the northwest. And okay. So we've got those, no circle of life. I don't think it was anything to do with the Ziggurat anti-life. I think there was just some sort of beastie in there. Let's see. Okay. So I think, is that it? I think that was it. Okay, and then part 2. There we go. Oh yeah, they were Kuatoa. What up, Grimvane? How we doing? Cashaw's life. I guess I should make a fucking article for Cashaw, unless... No, I don't have one for Cashaw, but I do have one for Garthok, so I might as well. Cashaw. Let's see. Life. Cleric. Played by Will Friedel. I don't actually. That doesn't matter. Why? Life Cleric is married to his god. His god is also a big meanie. He's definitely said the name of his god, and I definitely don't remember it. But also only worshipper of said god. Yeah, I think so. Vesh? Yeah, I think you're right. Married to his god. Yeah, I think you're right. Vesh. Oh, nope, that's not it at all. All right. Vesh. All right. Big ol' meanie. Let's see. I don't think that this will matter. After seeing more of like the beholder and everything, I think it was just for the anniversary stuff. I don't think it actually means much. Although, do I really let it go that easily though? Let's see. The temple contained Kuatoa that appeared to have manifested a beholder with special powers. Summoned tentacles and eyeballs from slime. Yeah, we'll just write it down. We'll write it down. It doesn't hurt to have. Kima didn't die. Let's see. Black feathers, sarcophagus, eyes of the Runekeeper, Deathwalker's ward. Oh yeah, a little bit of Raven Queen lore. Let's see. I know we have Raven Queen in here somewhere. There it is. And later ascended. All right. Brevity exit. Okay. I think that's pretty much it for those. Stream daily notes. There we go. I do like that Kuatoa were used, even because even though they picked a seemingly random beholder, it can still logically work. Yeah, I do think that there's a bit more like leeway, and like this isn't like a bash, but it's allowed to like make less sense. Like you don't have to explain why there are several beholders running around. You just if you use the Kuatoa, it's like, okay, there aren't more beholders running around. It's just that the Kuatoa saw the beholders and created one. So it definitely gives a little bit more leeway on that side of things. I agree. Let's see. NPCs. Kevdak, I'm gonna put at apparent neutral because I don't necessarily think that Kevdak is like a current enemy or ally, even though he's like very obviously evil. It's like enemies or allies is a little bit more generalized there. Think I'm gonna call Marrowglade Lock a landmark. And we're also going to make sure to the, I believe, east of Vasselheim. If I remember correctly. Might have been the west. Feel free to correct me if I am wrong. Let's see. Pervan is also, I'm going to call it neutral. And Vesh is a deity. There we go. All right. Also, lot of evidence that he's really pushing him towards that Westrun route. There's a vestige pointing there. Kimo wanted to go there. He throws in a big hook in front of them to go and investigate it. Like, definitely seems like Matt wants them to go to Westrun real bad. I haven't caught up on the last VOD yet. I can't recall what happens in the last CR ep. How was it? It was pretty good. It was pretty good. Trying to think of what I even... Oh, I loved the beginning. I really loved the dream sequences. The end, I think that there's a lot of like, oh, we'll see sort of stuff. With everything to do with Kevdak and all that. I think there's a lot of like, wait and see. But yeah, I really, really loved the beginning. And the end, I was pretty like, okay, you know, it's leading into more stuff later. Matt desperately waving a big neon sign saying, please go here. Yeah, this is where I have all of my prep, please. But he's certainly not forcing them there, but he's giving a lot of solid hooks to lead them there. They are just not taking them. Party also found a fancy necklace. Oh, that's right. They did. They found a I don't even think it has a name. Oops. Boop. I'm just gonna call it the Pokeball necklace. Pokeball necklace. Vex can put trinket in a pocket dimension. It also it's actually, oh wait, I wrote it down. It's called Raven Slumber. Lol. Raven Slumber, but yes, it's the Pokeball. Yeah. Raven Slumber. Basically a Pokeball. Vex can put, do I have an article for trinket? I don't even know. I don't. That's kind of funny. I don't really think I need one. Can put trinket in a pocket dimension. There was an ally that was in there. What's the name? Fire Shari, Zephyra. Is it in the next episode that they open up Raven Slumber? Where is it? No, it's not. It is in that one. Did I just not write it down? What? Took the entire crystal. Galdrick. There it is. Galdrick. Yeah, Galdrick. Originally contained Galdrick. And I am actually going to put Galdrick as its own article. The parent allies. Familiar / beast pet of Pervan. I'm going to say ostensibly. Currently respects Grog. Hanging out in Whitestone. Ugh. I need to get better with my hooks so my players feel they can ignore them. Times where I thought they could take a rest, they just kept going, and recently my players have suggested that it's been nonstop. The only way I felt I could challenge them is to have background timers, but it's basically set them on a continuous journey in which they can take breaks but get so in the flow of just going. Yeah, that is fair. I mean, there's a you have to try to cut the line between like what Matt's doing, where you know they can take as many breaks as they want and they don't feel any push forward, and what it sounds like is happening in yours, where they feel such a push forward that they feel it's nonstop and that they can never rest. I think one of the ways to potentially address that, and it's hard without knowing the details, you know, it's easier to talk about and critique Critical Role because I can see the details, you know, I can see how things are playing out, so I feel more comfortable there. But without knowing the details, potentially put ways for them to not necessarily solve the timers, but to pause them, like easier ways to pause them for a certain amount of time. And maybe within those times, there isn't like a huge push to do other stuff. So an example of this is like in my in my BitD game. How the heck do I make a new drawing? There we go. In my BitD game, I had a... Oh, God, why is it? It's so fucking bright. Get that out of here. There we go. I had a sequence where they basically did like a big ritual. And the ritual was in progress. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ritual very in progress. And they realized that there was something fucked up about the ritual. They'd been tricked. And so... But they didn't... they knew that it would be very difficult to, like, fully stop it. And they wanted, like, time to think. And so they looked into a way to pause it. So right now, the entire ritual... And I say right now, I had to put a pause on my BitD campaign, which is sad. But the entire ritual is on pause. And there are, chances that I basically have it to where the ritual's on pause, and like as a big consequence, I have a clock that I tick down towards that pause, essentially expiring. But they also know how they could essentially re-up that pause. So this is something you can sort of play around with, is this concept of, having these timers going. But if your players are feeling too stressed out, looking for ways to not necessarily get rid of the timer, because that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to solve whatever is causing this. You want to eventually just, get rid of it. But instead of that, you can have a much, much shorter, much easier thing to just pause it, so that while it's paused, they feel like they can breathe, they can have a break. And another kind of contrivance that you can build into this to make them even more down to take a break is that you basically say, while this is paused, you cannot make any progress on it. So basically you have the for Vox Machina, let's say, this is a big abstraction, but let's say that, they just need to take out all the dragons one by one. So you say, so that's what they're working on. They're taking out the dragons, but it's too much. There's too many dragons. It's too difficult. It's very nonstop, whatever. And you offer them a quest hook that says, hey, here's a thing that will put the dragons to sleep for a week, or put the dragons to sleep for, a month. But it's like a stasis sort of thing where you can't fuck with them. So basically you can't, really make any preparations. You can't investigate them, whatever. I don't know. Maybe it banishes them even. It doesn't put them to sleep. You don't know where they go. They just go off. And then they'll come back at the end of the month. Now, I don't know that would be super satisfying in the case of Vox Machina, just using it as an example. But I think that's maybe a way that you could give them a break so that they can breathe, where you introduce a pause to the timers, but you also make it to where they can't work on the timers while they're paused. So it sort of explicitly just takes them away temporarily. Maybe something like that could work without knowing too many of the details, What also works, not as in the moment situation, is giving your players allies to whom they can report delegate. Like, we're following this plot thread, but there's a quest hook over there. We can't follow it. So we're telling person XYZ about it. That way they don't feel completionist drive, and kind of in-universe communicate which threads they're interested in following versus giving away. It's fair. Sort of a that sort of like delegation type task was one of my favorite aspects of Assassin's Creed Revelations and Brotherhood. I really, really liked those games, and I loved being able to give my assassins and my factions little quests. So maybe something like that could work. Yeah, I don't disagree. Also halting the BBG's plan by thwarting mini-bosses. My players know the BBG has several high priests, and I communicated to them in-universe that after they killed one of those high priests, it felt like the BBG's machinations were slowing down, shifting, regrouping. Yeah, which allowed them to take a breather and pursue downtime. Well, especially if you not only say, so like, they have, each, I think one of the big things towards encouraging them to pause is saying, you have these objectives, right? Each, you have objective 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Is the big, like, they're slowing down, shifting, regrouping. So instead of saying, okay, you finished number 1, immediately go on to number 2, and immediately go on to number 3. If you basically say, okay, you finished number 1, these go away for a second. Like, this objective is moving cities, you don't know where it is. This objective is revamping its defenses, you don't know what's going on. And basically have, like a little period of time after they complete number 1 where you take away their ability to work on 2 through 4. Kind of like what Ink Charm's talking about the high priests, of after you kill one of them, you basically can't work on the other ones. Because the big thing is, if you don't take away their ability to work on it, they might feel too much pressure to work on it, essentially. Yeah. I have given them plenty of allies, but due to character traits of some of them, they prefer to do it themselves, trusting themselves over others. That's fair. I think that allies is definitely a very dependent thing. It also depends on if they really even like have a desire to lead any sort of faction or group. Yeah. I basically had this concept of anchors that once destroyed released an evil entity, and the BBG and his highest allies, known as the 4 Champions of X, were seeking to destroy them. So the BBG, they got one in the city they attacked, which they tried to stop, but it was already in motion. But it was suggested they didn't know where the rest were. And the party was able to get info on where they were. Okay. You just explained exactly how I'm handling the big BBG pot. Nice, Ink Charm. Okay, so that's an interesting kind of, I would almost call it a reversal, where you have objectives 1, 2, 3, 4, but the BBEGs are really the ones, is really the group that is driving progress on these things, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I think that one thing you could do, especially if the party knows where all of these anchors are, you could introduce essentially like a ritual of some kind to kind of do what I talked about with the dragons of, okay, so they got one in the city. So now you've got the 2 to 4 left. You could introduce a plot hook to the party that essentially says, okay, these 3 that are left, right, we're going to banish these somewhere. So that the BBG literally like cannot find them for some limited amount of time, where they basically know that they have that amount of time of essential freedom, where the BBG is just shit out of luck. And they know that the BBG is essentially just going to be spinning their wheels. But there is kind of another side here where they are playing defense against this BBG who has these goals. What are the party's goals here? So, like, the BBG has their own objectives, which I think is interesting. So, like, the party's playing defense against the BBG completing these objectives. But what are the parties, 1, 2, 3, 4? Like, what are these? Because I can see how if you're playing defense, there's essentially always something you could be doing, which, I mean, is kind of the same way both ways, but you could always be trying to defend these harder. Like, you could always be trying to beef up defenses. You could always be trying to fuck with the BBG. There's always something you could be doing if you're defending like this. So I think, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to take away that sense, which is interesting. I also love giving tasks with very soft timers. Like our Archfey Warlock needs to meet their boss for a competition between different Fey factions. It's going to put the Warlocks of different Archfey against each other, but instead of it being a do-it-now thing, she was told, you have to find a way here before the year is through, so it's up to the players when in the year. Yeah, a year's a really, really long time. A year is essentially infinite. Depending on the type of campaign that you're running, but... They decided to get them all first before the other BBGs could get there, which turned out to be a continuous. They got to the first one, but no one was there, so they waited until someone arrived, which eventually one of the BBG subordinates arrived, and an epic battle ensued. I see. So they went to the first one, and then what you could do... there's maybe an option here where, okay, so if they're getting to the second one, right? If they say, all right, next thing we're doing is going to number 2. Let's say especially because it sounds like the party knows where all of them are. So they get to number 2 and you offer them a quest hook to fully fuck with the BBG, because the BBG doesn't know where they are. So you offer them a quest hook which is this arrow right here. This is the quest hook you're going to offer, to fuck with the BBG and send the BBG after a fake number 2. So the BBG, you send the BBG like across the entire world, to just like absolutely not where number 2 is. And you give them like very distinct feedback that this worked. So they basically say, okay, the BBG's off on a wild goose chase. You basically don't have to worry about them for a while they go and pursue this phantom number 2. And then they will, maybe once they get there, they'll realize they've been tricked and they'll be coming back. But in the meantime, you have some time to prepare, take a breather, whatever. That's maybe an option, maybe a solution. Unless the only risk here is that they say, well, we need to go and like ambush them at the phantom number 2. Maybe the only way that I could see you maybe avoiding that is if phantom number 2 isn't even a real place. So like they'll show up, across the sea and not even be able to find phantom number 2. And so there's not even like an explicit location for your party to go to ambush them. Maybe something along those lines. That's so real. The campaign has been going on for 5 years and the game has been basically March through October. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Charm. That would have been so good. Seems so simple in hindsight. It's always simpler in hindsight. It's absolutely always simpler in hindsight. It is never so obvious in the moment. Yeah. So I mean, maybe something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, this sounds like a very interesting setup, which takes a lot of my, more standard advice of like, normally it is very much the party is going after objectives, but this setup of the BBG going after objectives, and it essentially being a race is very interesting. You have to sort of find excuses to pause the race. Which is hard when it's a big old race. It's a very interesting setup, but it is relatively non-standard, so you're gonna have to think of some creative solutions there. But very cool. Anyways, 50. We're doing note taking. What are we doing again? Okay, Deathwalker's Ward. Instead, they reasoned that if they went to the next one and showed they were Foingas, they'd rush there, but the party would know they are going there, and in doing so, and obscuring where they were going. What? They got the biggest jump on one of my strongest bosses I made, and it was crazy. I mean, it sounds like it's going well. It's just going quickly. Like, it sounds like they're, making interesting decisions, and that they like the quest, and they like the setup, because I think the setup's interesting. So I can very much, I would imagine that they're liking it. It's just that it's a little too fast. So you just have to figure out some way to essentially remove the BBGs as an active threat. You have to figure out some way to say, I know that we're in a race, but the BBGs have stopped running for some reason, you have to find some way to either allow the PCs to like trip them and then bury them on the track. Like, you have to find some reason to say we're in a race, but the BBG is not progressing towards the finish line anymore, because then that gives the PCs an opportunity to stop. Yeah, interesting. Deadly and I over here like, oh, Mega wanted to take notes, not on our watch. No worries. We're chillaxing. I'm totally fine with it. It's it is no problem. I have to I can't do too much chatting. But I can absolutely do some chatting. I mean, that's also kind of the point of making this a members only thing is having more direct communication and like hanging out with the members. So no worries. I just need to be better about like, while I'm like waiting for your replies, going back to this and then reading them and going back to your thing. I need to be able to switch a little bit more straightforward. But no, that's absolutely the point of making this partially members only, or not partially members only. Partially the reason for making it members only. I'm tempted to ask a question, but that might utterly derail the note-taking project, but I should probably hold off. No, go for it. Absolutely go for it. I might cut off at some point, so I don't want to do more than like 2 hours for vocal rest. So 1:30 is basically my soft cut. But I'm down for whatever in the meantime. Let's see. Pervan, do. There's not a whole lot else. Oh, Umbrasil is hanging out in Gat Shadow. That's right. Where? Parent enemies. Umbrasil. Currently shaked up in Gat Shadow. And Gat Shadow is big ol' mountain to the north of Westrun. Ah. Yeah. That was a relatively big thing, yeah. I thought I did that. The third time they got to an anchor and BBG got there first, but they couldn't find it. They changed plans, went to a different plane. So when they got scryed on, they were obviously in another plane. Couldn't scry. Third time they got to in the BBG. Interesting. But then the party went after the corrupted king subplot. We have a break from this. Let's do this. I see. So there's maybe... So that is potentially, as we go along, there are all sorts of... There's kind of the main quest line, but there's all sorts of kind of spiking off things. And a lot of times those go back in. Sometimes, those kind of become the main... and it sounds like maybe kind of what Inkcharm was mentioning earlier, that they maybe have more of a completionist sort of bent to them, where they want to cap off all of these loose threads. One way to handle this is sort of what Matt has done with the Chroma Conclave arc, which is to put the world into an apocalypse. That's one way to handle it. I don't know if that's, the way, that would work in your case. But the apocalypse essentially says, whoosh, we're going to cap off everything that's happened before because the world is changing so fundamentally. And that's, I think, also what Inkcharm was going after with the allies stuff, but you said that your some of your characters, at least, aren't into having allies. So a potential other way to cap off these subplots is to use, instead of the characters capping these off, you can have the world cap these off instead. So as they are doing other stuff, they get rumors or they get news that essentially has these things capping off in the background, which, number one, is going to help them not want to go after these random other things. But number two, also helps make your world feel, more alive. If things that they originally had but chose not to do get ended or capped off or resolved in the background, that can give your world more of a living feel. So maybe the corrupted king got deposed by a group of rebels, or maybe another adventuring party. Make your world feel a bit more alive. But yeah, if that's more the problem, that you put a pause on the main quest and they immediately go to a side quest, maybe just trying to limit the number of active threads that are there, or at least active threads with timers. I don't know. I was wondering if you have advice for DM burnout. As I mentioned, my campaign has been going for 5 years. We've had huge issues with player fluctuation, people leaving, new ones getting in, then new ones leaving. Then we had a lot of health and scheduling issues for a long stretch. And I'm sitting somewhere in the burnout impostor syndrome corner now. I'm unsure how to unstuck myself. Take the floor, Inkcharm, with your questions. I'll wrap up Deadly's last two things, and then I'll talk about yours, Inkcharm. The party went after the corrupted king. We have a break, but I never put a bunch of importance on this subplot. Indicated it was less important or could be handled later, but they went right in. Yeah, I mean, I think that even if you I think that this is actually sort of a corollary to what's happening in Critical Role is if you put them in a mindset of there are timers, if we don't do things, the world changes and like things get worse or, et cetera, et cetera. If you put them in that mindset, then even when you don't introduce an explicit timer, you say this can be handled later, what have you, then they will still feel a push to do it. So just the idea, like even just from the name of the subplot, like a corrupted king, it's like, okay, if they're used to there being timers, to there being consequences for them taking their time, and then they know that this king is corrupt, then I think that there's like an implication now in their souls that there's a hidden timer that they can't see, Whereas it's the opposite with Critical Role is even when Matt presents something that feels like it should have a timer, like Kevdak being in Westrun or, the Chroma Conclave, it's like, well, there's never been a timer in the past, so like, there probably isn't now. Like, it's kind of this kind of corollary thing of they're so relaxed, and your players, even when you tell them or heavily imply that there's no timer, they feel like there is, so they have to go and do it. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Okay, let's Ink Charm Burnout. So the first thing I'll talk about, or I'll address, is impostor syndrome. Because I have absolutely dealt with it in various areas of my life. And I'll tell a very short story to sort of illustrate a time where this happened. When I got my job at the company at Honeywell, I had terrible grades. Terrible grades. I had, I believe, I think I graduated with a 2.1 GPA overall and a 2.3 GPA in my major, which for reference, that's out of 4. So it's close to a 50%. So it's bad. If you get below a 2, you got kicked out of my school. So I had terrible grades. Terrible. But I've got, I've always said I'm my charisma stat is maxed out. Don't got great int or whiz. But the charisma's high. And so I talked to I was at a career fair and I was looking specifically for tables that didn't have a lot of people at them, because I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to get a job at something like Garmin, right? Garmin or fucking Google or Apple. They're going to like auto reject me. So I got to look for smaller companies because I just needed a job. And so I go to the Honeywell booth, had no people at it, and I talked to the dude for like an hour. And he eventually was like, and I was like, hey man, I want to be straight up with you. My grades are pretty shit. And he's like, yeah, it's okay. Apply anyways. We'll do the interview, whatever. And I applied for the job, just like an entry level coding position, essentially. And or actually, it wasn't even a job. It was an internship. It's an internship, not even a job. But I explicitly did not meet the grade requirement. The grade requirement was like a 3.0. But I had all these extracurriculars, all this other stuff. And so I applied and I got immediately, like within 10 minutes, I got a response email that was an auto rejection from HR. And I was like, fuck, like, okay, it's fine. And then I got a call saying, hey, let's set up the interview. And so I didn't say anything. I was just like, okay, yeah, let's set up the interview. And so they did, and did the interview. Interview goes great. They love me. And I tell them, I go, hey, like, I got auto rejected. And they're like, don't worry, we'll push it through. Just apply again. They said apply to this, charge code, whatever. Apply again. So I apply again. 5 minutes later, auto reject. It's like, okay. Next one comes through. And they schedule another interview with me. So I go to this time it's an in-person interview. I go to the in-person interview. I start off this time saying, hey, I got auto rejected. And they're like, don't worry about it. So I do the interview. They love me. And they're like, yeah, don't even, don't worry about it. Reply one more time. We'll catch it this time. Apply the third time. Say it with me. Auto rejected. So I got rejected 3 times. And then after that, I had a call with who would be my manager. We hit it off immediately. She offered me the job. I accepted. So then I get into the job, right? I do the internship. Internship goes great. But I honestly, straight up, do not feel like I'm doing that much. Like, I'm doing school at the same time. I'm planning my wedding. I'm, doing all of this other stuff. I honestly don't feel like I'm doing that much for the internship. And I get this big fucking, at my last, intern presentation, I get this big fucking award. And I'm like, what? It's I don't know. It's not, I'm like, I didn't do anything special for this. I didn't bust my ass for this. Was everyone else just fucking off? Answer was yes, by the way. Most of the other interns were just fucking off, and I was a senior, and most of the other interns were freshmen and sophomore. So I just had more knowledge to utilize there. So that was why. But I was like, I did not feel like I deserved it. And then I got hired, which was amazing. And then I got told constantly for doing what I thought was the bare minimum that I was such a fucking superstar. And it's because I was in a job that really valued technical expertise, but normally didn't hire people with technical degrees or anything. So I just happened to be in a position where they valued the things that I already had and that most of my coworkers did not have and had to work really, really, really hard to get. And so I felt like a total imposter every time they talked about how amazing I was doing, what a superstar I was, and blah 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 blah. I felt like a total imposter. And eventually I sort of I think that's fine. There was a doorbell. Eventually I sort of just realized that the only one who thought I was an imposter was me. I sort of had and I had a really, I sort of started to kind of suspect this a little bit. And then I had a conversation with one of my coworkers where I was like, hey, I'm feeling like this. Do you feel like I'm doing enough? Because I was very flat out with her. I was like, I feel like I'm somehow tricking our manager on accident into thinking that I'm good because he doesn't know any better. And she was like, look, this is about deliverables. This is about getting stuff done. If you're getting stuff done and it works and you're doing what people want you to do, then you're not an imposter. You're just doing it. It doesn't matter how easy or difficult it is for you. It doesn't matter how much work you're putting in or not putting in. if you're doing the thing, you're not an imposter. You just are who you are. I'm waiting for my players to realize I'm just doing a shit job. If they haven't, then you're not. That's the thing. It's sort of like it's like the fudging that I talked about with Matt, or it's like the when we were talking during the invasion of Amon about if he's convinced people that he's moving all of these pieces around in the background, it doesn't matter if he is or isn't. If they're enjoying it, that's all. Like that's the end of it. So let me I'm on benefits, so finding landlords willing to take me is hard on paper, but I got my current apartment just because the agent I talked to genuinely liked me in person despite not being good on paper, and that doesn't make you less deserving of that apartment. I think that that's one of the things that really it kind of comes down to is people like people. People like people. You know, it gets a bad rap sometimes, but if you just gel with someone and that's it, like that doesn't mean that you're less deserving of that apartment than someone else. You are deserving because your landlord liked you. And that's it. You can maybe say that it's like an unfair system, but it doesn't make you an imposter. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly how I feel. Just feel like a hack getting by on a thread. It's if you are presenting something where they are having fun and you're, you know, like I guess, especially in terms of like D&D imposter syndrome, not everything has to be, you know, Game of Thrones. Not everything has to be foreshadowed like the Chroma conclave, where, you know, there are all these dragons in the past. It's all leading up to this, you know. You can have Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You can have Supernatural, where, you know, there are no grand plans, but it's a really fun watch. And that doesn't make you any better or worse of a DM. I think that a lot of people, and if you are putting in the effort of the Buffy while having your players think that it's, you know, the Game of Thrones grand arc, again, that doesn't make you an imposter. That just means that you're making them feel cool and that you're making your world feel fun. You know? I mean, that's the real of it, is that it is so dependent. Like, so much of DMing is so dependent on how your players feel at the end of the day, because they are ultimately the judges of your campaign. Right? You're not going to be publishing your campaign notes. You're not going to be writing a book over the plot. You're not going to be producing an Amazon show. Probably. And so the ultimate judge of whether or not you're doing good or bad is just if your players like it or not. And I do think that we have this kind of idea in our head of, yeah, like one day your players will just realize that you're doing a shit job. And I think we're really afraid of like catastrophe, because I've had the exact same feeling. I've had the exact same feeling where you know, I feel like there's going to be this big catastrophe where like one day, you know, something won't go right and they'll all say like, wait, this campaign's been shit the whole time, whatever. That doesn't normally happen. It's normally 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's going to be like what Deadly's experiencing right now, where your players say, hey, Deadly, like, campaign's going well. Like, we like the story, but it's feeling a little bit fast. I was wondering if we could slow it down. Like, it's going to be small things like that. Very controllable things. There's not going to be this, big blow up like there would be, I think, if you were actually an imposter, but you're not. You're just someone doing something, and sometimes it goes like better or worse, but you're definitely not an imposter. If people really, really love what you're doing, that is just legitimate. You're not tricking them into it. You're not tricking them. The whole point is to, I guess maybe you are tricking them, because the whole point of TTRPGs is to trick them. It's to trick them into thinking that there's this big, huge world when there's not. There can never be. And that's the same thing with a book like Game of Thrones. It's to convince you that even though all you have are the words on this paper, that there's this whole grand world behind the words, when there's not. There's just the words. That's all you have. And TTRPGs are the same way. You want to convince your players that it's bigger than it is. And if you successfully do that, that's not you being an imposter. That's just the goal at the end of the day. One of my players recently told me that she made a Dragonborn in my campaign because she enjoys my Dragonborn and dragon lore, and she regularly tells her husband about new dragon lore I give her. Made me cry a little bit. Like, yeah. And it's like, you on the back end know, oh my God, my dragon lore is 2 pages long. But if she loves it, that's it. That's the feeling. Like, to compare it back to the job, that's the deliverable. That, like, if you're hitting those emotions and you're making your characters or your players love what they're experiencing, it does not matter what's going on the back. It doesn't matter how much effort you put into it. The only thing that matters is whether or not they like it. So if they like it, I think that there's this this feeling of like, well, I didn't put enough work into it. So yeah, they like it right now, but they won't later. When that's not the case. If they like it right now, that's the goal. And you just try to make them continue liking it. Interesting enough, I did want to write a book about my campaign. Well, even to extend it, like I said, a book is also a trick. It's making you, again, think that this whole thing is out there when all that's there are the words. These places don't actually exist. It's all a trick. So as long as the trick is successful, you're not an imposter. That's just the goal. That's what you're doing. I still don't understand, because I don't think I have especially interesting, awesome lore at all, so I don't get it. I have a comparison for you. And this is something that another content creator sent me once. Let me see if I can find it. Oh my gosh, it's from a long, long time ago. It is in reference to Dan Schneider, who is famously guy. But this point that and also how he is currently being litigated. I can't find it. Fuck. Is it? Oh, wait. There it is. Let me see if I can find it. It's not even a video about it's not like a video by Dan Schneider. It's about Dan Schneider's like creative, essentially. The Dialectics of Rick and Morty. It's by CJ the X. And I'll post it in chat as well. I think this has something about kind of what you're feeling and going after, which is that if you are someone, and I've dealt with this as a creative, and that's what we're kind of ultimately talking about here is, creation. if you are someone that cares about something, say, I don't know, fucking wine. If you're someone who really, really cares about wine, you like drinking it, you like talking about it, you like trying out different things, you like going to vineyards, and you start to create your own wine. So, I love this wine. I'm going to create my own wine because if I'm creating my own wine, I probably really, really, really like wine, because I'm creating my own. But inevitably, even though I really like it, and even if I do all this research and I've watched all these people and all these explainer videos about the process, my wine is going to be trash. The first batch, right? The Megaphone Man 1 bottle of wine is going to be hot garbage because inevitably, by my own taste, right? Because inevitably, if you're someone that really cares about creating something, you care about something so much that you want to create it for yourself, your taste is going to be above your skill. So like when I first started streaming, I was really into content creation. I'd read all these things about it. I'm still, by my own standards, pretty shit at content creation. I am not super happy a lot of the times with the quality of the end product of my stuff. But it's increasing. It's getting higher. Like, I want it to be as high as it possibly can be. I have like a certain level of like taste and like expectation for content and like what it should be. But I don't have the skill yet. I'm my skill is not there to create the level that is in my head. And I think the same thing applies to D&D. If you like D&D, and not even D&D, but Deadly's talking about writing a book off of the campaign, if you're into storytelling so much that, you want to tell stories to and with your friends, and you want to guide them through that, and you want to make these huge worlds, and maybe you even want to turn it into a book someday, your taste, because, you're watching fucking me do a 50-part series digesting and dissecting someone else playing D&D. You're clearly into this topic. Your taste is going to be higher than your ability. But that doesn't mean that everyone's taste is going to be higher than your ability, if that makes sense. Your taste will be so much higher than your players. Like, your expectations for what a good session of D&D is, for what a good campaign or a good story looks like, your taste and your expectations are going to be astronomically higher than your players. So you may not think that your Dragonborn lore is especially interesting because your taste is high. You have a high expectation for what good lore looks like. And maybe your ability can't quite match your own taste, but that doesn't mean that this is the case for your players. And the only way to get there is to practice, which I think everyone knows. I don't think that's, what we're really hitting on. But the really big thing that I want to hit on is that your taste is going to be fundamentally different from your player taste. So like your taste versus player taste are just not the same. And the fact that you are something that makes D&D really cool and that players really like is when things are targeted towards them. So like the Briarwood arc doesn't have to be especially memorable. It was, but it doesn't have to be. This Grog Kevdak arc doesn't have to be especially insane. The Keyleth arc with the Ashari, there's nothing particularly, I would say, standout about the Ashari arc, but it's exactly what Marisha wants. She gets to interact with this arc that she's really interested in and cares about. It doesn't have to be insanely unique or insanely novel for her to really love it and care about it. Because the taste of like what she wants is going to be fundamentally different from your taste as the DM, you know? So, and again, just because, you know, you're meeting their taste, but you're not meeting your own taste, absolutely does not make you an imposter. In fact, it kind of makes you the opposite. You're trying, at the very least. Like, a lot of people out there will start to create something, and because their ability does not live up to their own taste and to their own preferences, they will stop creating. And I think we all know that, you know, your ability just rises as you do it and as you keep practicing. Oh my goodness, what is that?
It was on sale.
Yeah.
It was only $5.
Oh my goodness, is it even on camera? It is. Yeah, Easter Bunny dog. She hates it, I bet.
What did you do?
Oh my god, she does hate it. Even Bug hates it.
I was like, I don't understand. Why does she have happy ears?
Oh my goodness. Oh, she got it off. She's gonna tear that apart if we let her. Lol. But yeah. That is all to say. That is all to say. In terms of imposter syndrome, you just know that your standards for yourself are absolutely inevitably going to be higher than your players' standards for you. And if you are meeting your players' tastes, you're doing it right. Like, that is, if you're making them happy and you're getting feedback that you're making them happy, and that's the game. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. And all you have to do is just try to keep improving on that and keep increasing it. But even if you don't get it, that does not, make you an imposter. If you gave them a super complex plot thread that they did not give a shit about, you would probably be a worse DM than giving them something super simple that they do care about. That's it at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how, artistically amazing it is if your players don't give a shit about it. One thing that helped me a bit was I thought my world was feeling empty, but recently one of my players realized it was their fault. They wanted long travel skipped to an extent, still going and seeing every few days, but they realized that was what was making it empty because they'd traveled all these days, one was 60 plus, and say almost nothing for the time. I still had encounters and such to interact with, but they engaged little with it due to the skipping they requested. And I mean, that is something that that's one of the reasons that I've talked about this a couple of times where I do check-ins with my players at the end of every session where we like talk about the session, analyze it, what they liked, what they didn't like. And going through that is sometimes like the players are like, oh man, I could have done that better, or I could have done this differently. And sometimes I'm saying the same thing. And sometimes I'll say, oh man, I should have done that differently, like out loud. And the players are like, no, I really liked that, which is a really good way for me to sort of check in on that plane, this conversation is making me realize that a stream discussing D&D campaigns as a player DM could be a fun concept. Man, I would need like certain aspects of it that I wanted to talk about, because just talking directly to chat, I don't know how long I could do it. But maybe. I really discouraged myself when I tried to put my homebrew world onto World Anvil. I started writing and was like, this is good or not. No, this is horrible. Then I stopped. But now I'm doing more dragon world building because one of my players loves dragons. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like, that's if you are building out stuff that you like, or that you don't think is like that you are just like not like totally uninterested in, and your players like it, then that's the whole game. That's the whole gambit, I personally love putting stuff into World Anvil because it sparks my creativity. And I think it is an intimidating part of creating in general. Like, this entire, like, you will look at something and think that it's bad. But I think there's also kind of another layer here that I was thankfully told this a lot as a younger kid, and then I continued getting told it a lot as an adult. That it's okay to fail. I actually had this will maybe be disturbing to hear. But I had certain metrics for the year mark of my channel that if I didn't hit them, I was probably going to quit. Or at least like really change things up and scale things back. Because I would have considered it a failure. And it's totally okay to like try things and just fail at them. Like, that is just perfectly okay. And I think that getting used to that, like getting used to failure just being chill, because it at least means that you tried something, is another, I think it's a really core part of getting over imposter syndrome and of building your own confidence. Like, I'm a pretty confident person, and I think this is one of the things that is kind of rooted in that, is that it's okay to fail, it's okay to be wrong. I think that people have, and I'm not saying this is necessarily your case, but I think people have a lot of ego and pride and don't want to fail, don't want to be wrong, and so they just won't put anything out there, And so it's like, yeah, even if it is trash, like, it's like, you go through the process of this is good or not, no, this is horrible. Even if it's horrible, fucking take a swing. If even if it's all bad, just do it and present it, and then present it to people and really try to get out of them if it is bad. Because I have absolutely done encounters, I've done story arcs that took me a long time to make, that were just straight up bad. And my players told me so afterwards. They were like, yeah, this was just boring. And like, this part of it that you thought would be interesting just wasn't. Like, that, I just straight up failed. There's no other way to put it, but it told me a lot. I learned a lot, and I got a lot better from having failed at that. And I think that I've failed in content creation. Like, I think I consider DM Live to be a pretty succinct failure, like, as a content piece, for like how much I put into it versus how much I got out of it. Same thing with book club. It's like, very unfortunately, book club was a failure, not just by like quantitative metrics, not by like the number of views that it got, but for like how satisfied I was versus how much work it took. That concept to me was just a failure, but that's okay. I don't have anything bad to say about that. It taught me things, and I learned things from it. So I think that's another way to, if you really want to like force yourself through imposter syndrome, it's gonna be really painful. But just writing a bunch of shit that is really weird and wacky, and like taking a bunch of big swings. And even if you like look at it and you're like, this isn't good enough, this isn't good, or even just if it's not good flat out, and just trying some shit, even if you don't want to like, impact your campaign, let's say, like you don't want to fuck with the vibes of your campaign, just try running more one shots and trying out weird and wacky bullshit. And that you maybe think is bad or not up to snuff could be a way of kind of forcing yourself through that imposter syndrome or burnout. Yeah. The other thing that I think helped me with burnout is having an alternative DM. Not even necessarily that's running, a separate campaign, but is running like one shots. That has personally helped me with burnout. But, I say all of this stuff about imposter syndrome and confidence. I do still get burnt out. That is still something that I struggle with. Even if I think that my stuff is good, just having the motivation to prioritize it over other stuff, that is something that I actively struggle with. So that's why I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome, because I think I have a lot more positive like ways around it, but I still struggle with burnout. The only thing I've really been able to do to combat it is using something like World Anvil that asks you questions, allows you to connect things, that sparks my creativity and my motivation a lot. And having people to run one shots. I think that playing some sort of TTRPG consistently puts you in the mood to DM, and vice versa. DMing puts you in the mood to play. So I think that having kind of a balance there of two people that kind of trade off can really help keep people in the mood, keep people motivated. But I'm not the best for that. I really want to give World Anvil another try, because on good days, I really do love my world and lore in it. And maybe on bad days, having it written out could help me remember that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm very all or nothing with my world building. Before I started running, I built out my whole world. Look, that is not how I roll, but I know you are not alone, Deadly. I know plenty of people that are in that vein. Yeah. I've been running for 2 years and my players don't even know 5% of the lore I've created. Yeah. I need to start using only methods to keep track of things. My paper notes are hard to follow sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. It's I cannot give a lot of advice towards that, particular type of running, because that is not how I roll, but I respect it. I absolutely respect it, especially if you got to the point of actually running. I think that's one problem that a lot of people run into, is that they build out this huge world and they never feel like it's ready. But if you eventually took the leap, I think you're running it solid. Yeah. I lost like half my world building notes because of a bad Scrivener crash once. No. Oh, that sucks. That would burn me out hard. I know it would. That really sucks. We used to do monthly one shots to take some pressure off my shoulders. I'm running weekly 5-hour sessions. Wow. Sadly, the same group with a different DM gives me bad imposter syndrome moments because I will compare myself badly. I think I need to play in another group campaign that's fully separate to get my brain out of that mode. Could be an option. Yeah, could be an option. I think that, and this is hard. Like, I have to, like I said, I'm a very confident dude. I used to not be. I used to have a real lack of confidence. And then I had a very flashpoint moment in high school that kind of rewired my entire brain. And now I'm like confident to a fault. So it's, to me, I hear that and I'm like, oh, it's a great opportunity for you to like compare and contrast. But I do understand that for a lot of people, that is a much more negative experience than it is for me. So I do fully, I can definitely see that playing in a fully different group would have a lot of benefits. I would also say like maybe slowing down the pace. Like slowing down the pace every 2 weeks, every 3 out of every 4 weeks. Taking a week break could help, especially with burnout. Like 5-hour sessions every single week. That's just a lot. That is a lot. That is like an impressive pace for 5 years. That's a lot. I have never been that consistent with a campaign. At least not for 5 years. The first campaign I ever ran was weekly, but it only ran for 2.5 years. So that's a fuckload. That's just impressive more than anything. Yeah. Imposter syndrome moment. Oh wait. I still think it isn't all fleshed out, but it's basically hyper details like building out each individual city. I had to run at some point, so I build those cities when the party says they're going there now. Yeah, true. Yeah. Absolutely. Plus, it's good to keep them free for players wanted to have backstory stuff at a given pace. Yeah. I like to world build frameworks. My players feel like the lore is very rich, but mostly it's broad strokes that we can add details and enrich on the spot. That's perfect, Ink Charm. And I absolutely understand how that could activate imposter syndrome feelings. But I really want you to like focus on what you just said of your players feel like the lore is very rich. Just because it's not by your standards doesn't mean anything. I would even say just because it's not beforehand, you're still adding the details and enriching everything on the spot. That's still on you largely. Obviously the players help. It's collaborative storytelling, but you're the one that is probably largely leading those enrichment efforts. So just because you didn't prep very rich lore ahead of time, number one, doesn't mean that your players don't feel like you did. And number two, does not make you an imposter in the slightest. It really just speaks to, if they feel that way, that speaks to an incredible level of skill on your part in the moment. An incredible level of skill, especially if you're doing this shit weekly. If you're doing that shit weekly, come on. That's so much. I think there's a tendency to think of like improv storytelling as like somehow lesser than prep storytelling, but it's not. It's all just storytelling. It all depends on how the players feel at the end. I'm having a very cathartic cry right now. Good. I'm glad it's cathartic. Yeah. No, I mean, it's, and I think, maybe that's, I've run 3 to 4 hours sessions weekly for 2 years. Oh my God. You guys are crazy. I could never. That's wild. Oh my goodness. Thank you for this chat. Genuinely, it's been really helpful and good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, I think I'll end it there. A good bow to tie on it is, if you are improving so well that your players feel like you're an insane prepper, that doesn't mean that's not a bad thing at all. Just because they think you're something that you're not, either way, you're a good DM. That's the long and short of it. You know? This has been awesome and helpful. Good. You stream for like several hours every Monday through Friday. Don't call us crazy. Oh, it's so much easier. I do. It is. I was talking to a friend about this, of like streaming is just so easy for me. Like D&D is harder than streaming. And that's why I want this to be a career, and that's why I'm like so focused on making a career, is because I found something that I just absolutely love doing. It's not that it's not work, it's not that it's not stressful. Like it still is work and it still is stressful. But holy shit, there's just no friction between me doing it. I never get out of bed and I'm like, I don't want to hit go live. At least right now. Maybe that'll change. But and again, sometimes I get stressed out about it. It is like a lot of work sometimes, but I just fucking love doing it. I love going live. Let's see. I think. Oh yeah, Vax is now absolutely the Raven Queen's champion. I forgot that I need to to note that down. Oh, right now all he has is the brother of Vex. Let's see, current Raven Queen champion. To turn the complans around, I think it speaks so much to you that you're able to do this every day for several hours. We're building a very invested community that loves to come hang out. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad. I like what I do. I believe in it. Like I said, if I don't know, if I thought it was a failure, I would have quit by now. But I don't. I love doing it, and I'm glad that you guys like hanging out. Yeah. Anyways, let's see. You do an amazing job. Thank you. Thank you so much, Deadly. Yeah. Man, I need to do more members only streams because it's just full of compliments. No, thank you. I appreciate it. It's so funny. I like being the center of attention, but only when people are not directly talking about me. So it's like, I love the compliments, but I don't know how to respond to them. But I also love people looking at me and listening to me. So it's a very weird dichotomy with me. Usually a lurker. I don't engage with streamers that much because I don't feel like I have much to say. I'm glad you guys feel like you have a lot to say. That is one of the main things I really wanted out of my community and out of this experience, is to cultivate an environment of like discussion about what we're looking at. You know, that's yeah, that was one of my big goals. Now I come here and chat so much. Poor Mega. No, not poor Mega. That is actively one of the success metrics. Is the fact that like people like come in and debate with me and you know, have discussions about what we're looking at. Yeah. Anyways, there is one theory that I have that let's see, what is it? Black hole acceleration. I don't even know if this will actually happen, but I do want to split it off. So Vox sent a hireling to mine residuum under Whitestone. I don't know how seriously Matt took it, but I will be very interested to see if anything goes wrong here, you know? You say that now, but remember that my job is usually to bully you, as the best community members should. Being a lurker is usually my favorite pastime. Here I'm just a loudmouth, apparently. I'm a lurker too. I don't engage off of my own stream. What the fuck was that? I think that was a dog. Okay, I think we're fine. I thought someone just screamed. No, I'm a lurker off my own stream. Even in like the Discord, all that sort of stuff. I've unfortunately stopped replying to comments because yeah, it takes up way too much of my time because I am like naturally a lurker. So I still read all, if not most, of the comments. At this point, I just don't respond to them outside of comment review. Maybe we're in the same person. Folks in varied clothes. Fire Ashari. Oh, this is a big Pyra thing. I definitely need to put this in the Pyra faction note. Pyra. And perfectly seated into the historical. They helped seal up Thordak. Is there anything else? I don't think so. Yeah. Okay. And then this is all historical. Was a large gash to the where Thordak came through was closed by Vox Machina in what was this? What episode was this? Did I not note what episode this was at any point? What the heck? What am I doing here? On the 15th, what episode did I do on the 15th? Let's see. Live. 15th. 45, it looks like. In EP 45. Okay, current state. Pretty much back to normal, generally just in the process of rebuilding. There we go. We will be known as Dead Link. Yeah. I can get with Dead Link. Wait, Ink. Oh, Dead Link. That makes sense. I was like, Link? I don't understand, but Dead Link, I see it. I agree with this wholly. It is better. I think it is better than Ink Spark. I like Dead Link more. Let's see. Hireling, folks in varied clothing, 25. Just like Percy having his sister, Zephra. Oh, yeah, Zephra. They're cloaked. I need to make a new note for the Zephra. Zephra. Air Ashari. Keyleth's home. Cloaked against the chroma conclave. There we go. Deadling is better. Just been lurking while grinding out Stardew. That sounds fun, Tai. Look, that is exactly how I engage with most YouTube is second monitor type beat. And so I respect it. That is exactly how I engage with that sort of thing. Leader of the Pyrus, Circonos. Do I have Circonos? I feel like I should if I don't already. Parent allies. I do not. So we're going to make a new note. For Circonos. Leader of Pyra. And his arm is coming back, so we don't really need to note that. Let's see. Any other lore? Really no lore. Actually, very little lore in this episode. But then next step, we fucking jump into it. So I don't blame him. Let's see. Ep 47. All right. Now we're going to have to split this up. So we have Raishan Dragon, and we also have Raishan Human. Because these aren't explicitly the same person, not explicitly shown to be the same as Raishan Dragon, but it is awfully interesting that they have the same name. Yeah. I mean, it's not directly confirmed. Maybe it goes by the same name in human form, question mark? Raishan Human. Not explicitly confirmed, but it would be interesting if she wasn't. You know? It'd be a little interesting if she tweren't. Mega has fully replaced my headphone podcast content when I cook dinner since streams are at 6:30 my time. That's pretty good. Do you want to become part of the collective, Tai? Oh my goodness. Stream starts at 2:30, so their early morning wake up. I tune in to see. Oh my gosh. I really do apologize, Deadly. It's really tough since you're such an active community member, but I'm pretty sure, based on my analytics, because I did review them, that you may be one of, if not the only viewer from Australia. And there's like one other person from Asia, and that's it. So it's really, really tough to justify any super late night streams. I'm representing us all, yeah. But that was part of the push towards, okay, half eps are going away. We're just gonna do full eps from now on. So that way, at least you can get in for the later halves of the episodes. If you're still is very early morning, unfortunately, but is what it is. A lone elected representative. Lore confirmed. Yeah. She couldn't have been older than 15. Seemed human. Her name was Rashon. Let's see. Boop. All right. There we go. Now we have Vax's Dream. And I'm actually going to wholesale include this in his article, partially because he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff, but also I could see any of this being foreshadowing for future stuff. Vax Dream in Ep 47. And I'm going to do the same thing with Grog. Like, it seems like there's not much going on, besides maybe the more obvious points of interest. But I'm just going to wholesale put him in there. Let's see. Current wielder of Craven Edge. Let's see. Oh, Kevdak. Throw a little Kevy in there. Okay. And then also put in Grog's Herd, Niels, Kevdak Bows. Yeah. I think that's good. Haven't theorized on Thordax human form, which I was thinking about. Gat Shadow. Do I have a Gat Shadow? Oh, I do. Big old mountain. also where the pre-stream lich stuff went down. Let's see. Thordak rules in Amon. There is still a question of where Raishan and Vorugal currently ruling, but there's nothing I can really theorize about that. Because I just don't know. I assume it's probably somewhere in Wildmount, if I had to guess. Let's see. And this was actually kind of wrong, that Umbrasyl Institute Watchers Slave Masters is actually just the herd. He just allows the herd to kind of do their thing. She be tugging on the weaves sounds like a line from a pretty dope rap song. It kind of does. I feel that. Or it sounds like an erotic innuendo. As it turns out, but my engagement, I haven't gotten anything done for the day, so I can nap later. Yeah. I mean, hey, if that's how you're just like a rise and grind YouTuber. You're just like a productivity guru. They're just getting up earlier and earlier every day. You know, you see the fucking productivity bros. They're like, "Oh, I got up at 4:30 today. What are you doing, motherfucker?" And it's like, "Dude, I got up at 2:30. Where are you? I never even went to bed. Sleep? Joking. I never sleep." Let's see. Font Umbrasyl. Yeah, sleep is for the weak. Mega's played too much BG3. Everything is naughty. Potentially. Okay, we need to take some notes about Grog's herd. Grog's herd. Took over another tribe. And then, did I take any other detailed notes? I didn't, but I remember all of it. Yeah. Goliath at the top with some smattering of other races in the tribe with lower. Westrun is now property of the herd. Kevdak bent the knee. Exact relationship with Umbrasyl regarding ruling Westrun is sort of unclear. Bent the knee to Umbrasyl. There we go. What up, K Gemmet? Oh wait, K Gemmet can't be watching because we're not streaming to Twitch. Well, that's cool that they followed though. Who has time to sleep? Deadly always on that grind. You did set me up for that. First stream started at 10:30 for me, then 5:30 for full ups, then it was 4:30. Then you moved the time an hour to 3:30. Then daylight savings ended, hence 2:30. Holy shit, that's crazy. It is one of those things where I really wish I could change it. And I do have some ideas for some later night content in future, especially like members only stuff. But right now I'm trying to focus on solidifying what's there. So maybe something in the future, but probably not anything soon, unfortunately. Let's see. Winter's Quest and Restaurant. Oh wait, we already knew about New Noja. Total Rando hasn't been mentioned since. It's actually Abjurist Noja. I thought we hadn't gotten a name, but apparently I have. Let's see. This seems like something. I wrote this down. I don't even know what to call this. I guess I'm going to call it a mythology. And we're going to call it like... No, stop it. We're going to call it magical weapons. Magical weapons. Some ancient magic weapons had folks' souls stuffed into them. Some just came into existence all on their own. These both seem separate from the descriptions of the vestiges of divergence. But maybe there's something here? Because the thing about this is he's saying some just came into existence all on their own. This sort of phenomenon, just coming into existence all on their own, absolutely something that churches would co-opt. You know what I'm saying? And the vestiges of divergence, this whole fucking thing, the two people that we've really heard talk about them, both are like explicit servants of the gods with Osisa and Vord. And so there's absolutely a vested interest, especially when these vestiges, and is this something that I noted? I don't even think so. Often passed down as symbols of power through lineages, through ruling lines. You know what I'm saying? Like these powerful weapons just popping into existence is absolutely something that church higher ups would want to keep a lid on, especially given the arcane versus not deific, what the fuck, divine divide within this his history. The church claiming that these weapons instead were created by the gods strengthens their overall side in the debate culturally. You know? It's like, but because this is something offhand comment that Matt made when describing Craven Edge's history. Like, both of these seem very arcane. And so there's maybe an amount of cover-up where it's possible that the vestiges were never actually... it's also if they are used as symbols of power, that sort of goes towards a divine mandate sort of feel. We have like our family was given the vestige by this god. So we are divinely, so our entire line that holds the vestige was chosen to rule. I feel like there's something here. I'm gonna call this arcane weapons versus vestiges. Based off of some comments in, and I'm going to put the 22, 0422, EP 47. Because this, I definitely can see something going on here with this. I feel as though there's some historical fuckery at work here. Where the church has kind of co-opted these weapons of divine power to keep control culturally and within existing power structures. But we'll see. I don't know. I think I'm not even, yeah, and I shouldn't even put this into, I'm going to put that into theory. Theories. All right, so what else do we have for theories? Let's just update ourselves on theories, and let's think about them a little bit, you know? The black hole acceleration is something that is new. Eskel sus. Yeah. To a degree, I still find Eskel kind of sus. Like, and I'm going to say potential Vorugal identity, but pretty loose, but probably the closest guess I have for that. Like, yeah, I don't know. I like the theory. It's always fun to see Theorizing since I was there while it was live and couldn't be part of it at the time. Yeah, I feel you. Still technically can't because I know too much, but it's fun experiencing it through you. I feel you. Yeah. Yeah, that I like. The Theorizing is one of the things I find the most fun. But we're still like relatively at the beginning. I feel like a lot of the Theorizing starts to accelerate towards the end because questions, like at the beginning of a lot of the arcs, you're just throwing out questions, you know, as a DM, and then towards the end of an arc, questions start to get answered, and it gives you more pieces to play with as a theorizer, you know. I still have Orthax's cursed weapons, which I still kind of believe in. I still think that the list was a vessel for Smokey, but it only held a piece of him. The more lives the list takes, the stronger, more sentient that piece within it becomes. Because Craven Edge and the list have acted so similarly. And I think that Craven Edge contains another piece of Smokey, as it seems to have a similar effect on Grog as the list had on Percy, and they have similar particle effects. I think that the reason Craven Edge seems more sentient / independent and possibly powerful is because more lives have been taken by it throughout its existence. This also lends some credence to the what the fuck's the word? not it's not regardless, but it basically means like non-discerning. Like the list towards the end didn't really care who it killed. It just wanted to kill. You know, indiscriminate. Nature of the list towards the end of Percy using it. Very similar to Craven Edge, it is just hungry. I really see a connection between Craven Edge and the list. I really, really see it. Trap Genie is yeah, pretty much probably not the case. I'm gonna say that this is I'm gonna put this into a bin. Unlikely. I'm gonna put this into the unlikely bin. Because like I guess it's theoretically possible, and like there's still maybe something going on here, but not likely to be a genie anymore. All right. That's why I love watching shows and movies with people who don't know them yet. Watching them react to Theorize is so fun. Any surprise, I'm a big fan of good React content. I was just about to say I harvest React content on shows I really like. Legend of Vox Machina specifically. Yeah. This is the same person theory is getting deeper. Yeah. I really need to find some Legend of Vox Machina React since we can't do it with Mega for like 75 years due to Fear C1 spoilers. Yeah, probably another year. Probably another year at least. Yeah. Most come out loving the show even if they poke fun at D&D at the start. Yeah. I still have some ideas on how I could make a really good piece of React content around that's like very unique, but I haven't been able to execute on said theory yet. But I have a theory. I have a theory on how I could do it. All right. There's ziggurats. Yeah, this has essentially been confirmed. She just said that the one under Whitestone was corrupted. And she said it's one of our temples. So ziggurats of power, absolutely a thing. The other thing I'm going to add into this. Actually, I kind of have a new theory. I'm just going to call primordial breaches. Winter's Crest is a day / holiday culturally, and it has also been somewhat confirmed to be when the planar boundaries are weakest. Okay. The Pyra are built around an active portal to the elemental plane of fire. The Zephra have been narrated as having an unnatural wind through their settlement. I'm guessing a rift to the elemental plane of air. It wouldn't surprise me if the other two Ashari. Do I have an Ashari thing? I don't really feel like I need one. I was just curious if I did. Ashari tribes are built around similar rifts. Also, small sub theory. Keyleth's mom. Keyleth's mom disappeared on her Aramente. If the part of primordial breaches regarding the Ashari is accurate, she might be trapped in one of the elemental planes currently. My random guess is water. I have no reason for that guess, but making a little bit of a swing there with it. You know? Not Mega Teasius. If only Mega could watch and stream CR every day, we'd get through it in not time, yeah. The one tribe I'm never sure of the details of the Earth tribe because it was all pre-stream stuff. It was, yeah. So we won't know too much, but we'll see. Primordial pants, Hans. The other two Ashari tribe are built around similar rifts. So then, let me think. I'm fairly certain the Frost Wield the Frost Wield also had a planar rift where Grog fucked a nymph. Also, am I correct in thinking that at basically the beginning, the story of Vox Machina, am I correct in thinking that at basically the very beginning of this, they go into a pocket dimension to battle the fucking guy? Fendril, Small Merchant Empire, the Myriad. The path eventually leads them into a chamber housing a planar rift, pulling the group into the plane of the stillborn god Chrysothal. A planar rift, you say? Even one of their very first adventures led them through a planar rift to the plane of the stillborn god Chrysothal. Just gonna throw that in a little bit of a doop-a-doop, you know? Just make a couple new things for all of these. I don't know if I spelled Frostwield right. I might not have. Chrysothal is a deity. Elemental plane of air is a location. Frostwield's also a location. Region. All of this Frost Wield with an A. Got it. Frost Wield. I mentioned because an opening would be a breach with an A, and breaches are old time pants. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Aha. Planar Rift. Planar Rift. Stillborn Guard Crystal Thul. The event. The Winter's Crest in Westrun led them through, I believe, a planar breach to fight Sky Sunder. Let's see. It's all do. This is all Eskel shit. Just want to, really quick, north to the Umbra Hills. Probably rush to the Frostwheel, the forest shrouded in eternal winter. Okay, so that's just the thing. Unfrozen Pool. They coax a Nift from her dimensional sanctuary. Interesting. She actually is in a dimensional sanctuary. Uh-huh. The Frostweald... the Frostweald, where Grog funked a nymph, had a dimensional sanctuary, which sounds a bit plainer to my ears. And then I think Sky Sunder also led them through a portal. She opens a portal and leaps through, the party giving chase into what seems like an icy frozen world. Chaotic and elemental in nature. Yeah. Led them through a portal to a frozen world. Chaotic and elemental in nature. Sounds a bit like a primordial breach to me. All of this wraps back to the First War. Right? Hear me out. To First War. To the First War. Because the First War was when primordial titans, separate from the gods, sought to destroy any light or beauty, were slayed by the gods in the First War, using the first of these vestiges, created the elemental planes, essentially from these titans. So it seems like the cosmos's natural state is to all be combined into one big soup. And the separation of the planes is an active force of will and power. Any strain or stress on that power pokes holes easily. The planes want to bleed into each other. Not only that, the planes appear to be at least appear to be, or at least are implied to be in hashtag Vordian theology, sentient. They were created from from titans that roamed during the First War. This could mean that the big overall bads are the primordial titans from the first war, trying to bring the planes back together in that chaotic soup. They could be the reason that Thordak was able to escape. They gave the powers to Raishan, human, to free him because he was essentially bound within them. The Ashari and the Ashari are vestiges, you might say, are guardians, are historical guardians. Some might say vestiges of the ancients that put away the primordials. Historical guardians. The gods and folk during the First War were able to separate and stuff away all the primordials, but they needed a pathway, so to speak. A plug, a drain. That's what the Ashari guard on their rifts. These are essentially the plugs. And if they are torn open, like with what happened to the Pyra, not only was Thordak able to get out, but a bunch of elemental plane of fire stuff started leaking out. Theory is that the elemental plane of fire itself gave the info to Raishan on how to open the plug, starting the process of converging the planes, which is the ultimate plan of these ancient primordials. I'm trying to think if it makes sense. I was just going on stream of consciousness there for a while. I kind of blacked out. But I think I'm right. Embrace dark gods, purpose of creation, embrace the primordial chaos. Also seems like the primordial chaos bit, they taught the mortals magic. Magic corrupted, split the gods. Even to support this, in the second war of... Oh, wait, I should link that. In the second war, Yeah. In the Second War, the arcane is directly linked to the primordials. So all of the bad arcane gods are also sort of on the side of the primordials. Also sort of links into ziggurats of power. Sort of links into ziggurats of power. The Temple of Osisa's god is cool and chill. But then, oh no, they corrupt it with scary arcane stones. Arcane is linked to the primordials and planar breaches, which, wouldn't ya know it, is what we see as the effect of the corruption. Some sort of planar breach. And we can be even more confident that it was going to be a planar breach, given that the target date for its creation was Winter's Crest. Uh-huh. 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 This also sort of thematically ties in with the chroma conclave, given that it is a threat very a threat that it is a threat subdivided essentially by element. What were the 5 things that what were the 5 things that the Deathwalkers ward? One of 5 damage types. What were the 5 damage types that it was resistant to? Was it just... That is something I'd be curious about. I might have to go and look that up at some point. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. So big swing, the last arc of the campaign will be them fighting the sentient embodiments of the primordial planes. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, necrotic, or poison. Interesting. Very interesting. Interesting. Yeah, big swing. All right, so big swing time. Last arc of the campaign will be Vox fighting the sentient embodiments of the elemental planes. and even potentially other planes like Shadow, Fell, etc. That's the big swing. I think that could be what a lot of this is leading up to. That the primordial titans from the first war are like, hey, that soup was pretty cool. I want to go back to the universe being soup. But that's going to kill most of humanity, at least according to the Vordian theology. The first war, or actually no, in prehistory, the chaotic nature destroyed everything except for Vasselheim. And Vasselheim was only because it was cute and special. So we can't have it be primordial ooze because it'll kill all the humans, but the Titans want it to be primordial ooze. I think that could be the case. And it is also interesting that the Raven Queen was a mortal and ascended later. Directly immortal. But she is credited as making a vestige. And the vestiges, some of them were made during the First War to fight the primordials, and then some of them were made during the Second War. So it is possible. We don't know when the Raven Queen ascended, but it's interesting that her thing, the Deathwalker's Ward, gives resistance to, primordial type stuff. I think it's interesting note that gives credence to her ascension during one of the wars, that her vestige, Deathwalker's Ward, specifically wards against elemental damage. Very much a weapon specifically useful in a war against primordial / elemental forces. What I'm really wondering, and I think we'll maybe get a little bit of this. Oh, yeah, that was definitely information directly stated on stream. What I'm really wondering is, are the Titan Stone knuckles going to be similar? Because it says carved from the corpse of the Earth Primordial. Because it seems potentially as though maybe those weapons were even gifts from the Earth Primordial. You know what I'm saying? Because this old card from the Earth Primordial, info from Earthbreaker Groon. We should call this Groonian. Hashtag Groonian. Because they were a gift from ostensibly they were a gift from Cord, but then they were carved from the corpse of the Earth Primordial. Like, the Deathwalker's Ward was not created from the corpse of any of these monsters, And they are very obviously and very explicitly good for fighting against, like, the Deathwalker's Ward is good for fighting against the Primordials. Lends a lot of credence to the Raven Queen story of, like, she was a mortal in this war that ascended to godhood and made a vestige to fight the Primordials specifically. Whereas the Titanstone Knuckles, depending on what they do, I'm already a little suspicious of. I'm a little suspicious because they're carved from the corpse. They're a gift from Cord. And this Raven Queen one, this Deathwalker's Ward, it was adorned by the champion of the Raven Queen, right? Not a king, not a governor, you know, not a symbol of royalty. It seems like potentially the Raven Queen's maybe history is more accurate, less fucked with. Of, like, she was really in this war, really fighting against these Primordials. Whereas I think potentially we're going to see that some of the other vestiges, the history's been fucked with a little bit. I think that Deathwalker's Ward is a real, legitimate vestige that was actually crafted to go after the Primordials, whereas some of the other vestiges were maybe kind of bullshit power symbols, maybe even potentially gifts from the Primordial side. Like, I think it would not surprise me at all if the Titanstone Knuckles were created by the other side during the Second War. And rather... Oh, wait. Wait. Yeah, this arcane weapons versus vestiges. I need to write this down in here. Deathwalker's Ward. I am more convinced that the Deathwalker's Ward was legit created to contest the Primordials. Yeah, I think it was legit created to contest the Primordials. And however, I think that some of the vestiges will turn out to actually have been created by the other side, either the Primordials or the Traitor Gods during the First and Second War, respectively. Primordials or the Traitor Gods during the first, which the First War is just the First War. The First War and Second War, respectively. However, after the divine side won, they didn't want to give up these relics of great power, despite them having been created by the heretics. Using them would have been blasphemy unless you rewrite the histories. These weren't weapons of the other side. They were gifts from the gods. Now you can use them without being a blasphemous hypocrite, and use them as the symbol of divinity, like theorized above. I think the fact that the Deathwalker's ward was just used by a person still directly in the employ of the Raven Queen shows that it's probably legit, but I'm starting to question the Grunian history of the Titan Stone Knuckles. And I will generally question the legitimacy of any vestiges that seem like they would have actually been wielded by primordials rather than specifically countering them, like the Deathwalker's ward. Now, none of this might... Now, all of this might not matter, except there might be a big twist in the last arc, if that is what I think it will be, based on primordial breaches, where the legit vestiges are cool, but any of the non-legit vestiges are able to be easily deactivated or co-opted by the primordials. Basically, all of the non-legit vestiges will get sucked off. Well, maybe different term. Will get vacuumed up by the primordial bosses during the final battles. I don't know. I think there's kind of something there. I think I'm cooking a little bit. I think there's a tiny bit of cook in me. Yeah. I think, people have made a joke about me predicting the entire campaign for a long time, but I'm fucking taking a swing at it here. I am taking a swing on predicting the entire campaign right now. I also need to end this soon because this is going on a 3-hour stream. But let's check out the Chroma Conclave really quick. I don't think this sort of could be a sub theory of primordial breaches. I'm gonna keep this one around, but I think I'm gonna put it into unlikely. I think I'm also after finding out that Raishan Human was chilling in Othanzia for such a long time, I find this one a little less likely, unfortunately. That one also goes in unlikely. Rayshawn's humanoid persona. I mean, just gotta throw a Rayshawn human in there. Rayshawn human probably is this, but maybe not. Thunderbrand is a mole. I still stick with that. Still sticking with that. Umbrasil. I think Jamon Saord being Umbrasil still makes the most sense. I've got nothing else besides Jamon, really. And then Vorugal, I still think Eskel is the most likely for Vorugal. Lots of big swings. I like it. Fuck yeah. Big swings. Big swings. What's up? Just coming to say hi to the puppies. Let's see. I think that's it. I had some big swings here. We'll see how they pan out. Oh my god. Oh, it is. Why is it having so much trouble rendering the graph? Oh, it's because of the fucking community plugin. I guarantee it. Shit. I need to disable that one because it's not that worthwhile to have if it's going to fucking lag out the entire thing. Graph link types. There we go. Uninstall. Let's get rid of that. Does it still have them? Oh my god, it does. Why is it lagging so hard? That's so weird. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Clasp is still sus as hell, but I have nothing that will actually let me, like, really pin them down for something, which is the big problem. Like, I would love to pin something on the Clasp, but we just don't have anything substantial enough to do so. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's absolutely something going on with them, but you know, we don't have anything, I think, substantial enough to really say what. You feel me? I think Chrysothol is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything that's getting my getting my gears whirring, you know? Not seeing anything on here that's really getting my gears whirring. But I think I had plenty of gears this this session, you know what I'm saying? I think I had plenty. Let's yeah. Oh man. Yeah, there's just so clearly something going on with the Clasp. I just don't know what it is. I don't feel like I have enough to say yet. I don't feel like we know enough. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, we have a nice digital red string corkboard here. Oh yeah, absolutely. I love when we get to the part where Mega just wobbles the little bubbles around. I like wobbling the bubbles. I like grabbing one and going whoosh. You know what I'm saying? Elmseer, Reskull, Rhintarian. Eskel did heal Grog. I'm trying to think if there's anything to do with Eskel. Eskel healed Grog. Who's Dresvina again? Hired Vox to steal a brass box from Eskel Rhintarian for his master. We don't know who the master was. When the party doesn't, then they retrieved an arcane cortex from the chest of a golem. Oh, again. I mean, you know, we could say, whoa, it's a dark elf. Maybe it's Umbrasil. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like... And, I mean, he's hanging around Westrun, and now, I mean... You know what? Just to say that I predicted it, just to throw it on there, possible Dresvina connection? Umbrasil now rules over Westrun, which is where Dres was, and he hired them to steal something from Eskel. That could work if Eskel is Vorugal, and could also work if he's not, but knows a thing or two about planar shit, or is involved in planar shit somehow. Maybe that's why the clasp was framing him? We know the clasp is sus as all hell, and delivered Sky Sunder. So the fact that Dres and the clasp were both targeting Eskel does make Dres seem more sus. And I guess Dark Elf equals Black Dragon. I don't know, man. Going to be on the lookout for further mentions of an arcane cortex, especially as it relates to Umbrasil. Or potentially even Jamon. The graph is my favorite part of this program. It's the whole reason I decided to try it out, and I love it. Oh, the graph is so much fun. The graph is great. Like, it is largely just fun, but it also has some utility in, like, showing the bright spots on the map with, like, the different sizings. I love the graph. Yeah. I think Vox Machina is a red herring. They all have something to do with it. The whole part is actually part of the clasp undercover. This feels like a throw enough at the wall to see what sticks moment, a slow but effective method nonetheless. It sort of is. Like, this is not something I'm super confident about. It's something where I feel like I can come up with a theory and, like, fucking maybe. It's because we've gotten so little for Jamon that I'm not necessarily doubting that it's Jamon, but I'm like, I don't know, like, if we continue to get this little about Jamon and Marquette, I gotta just try out other theories because I will have no way of advancing this theory. So I gotta open myself up to other options. And we brought back Eskel. We brought back Noja. We're going back into Westrun. Like, maybe when we go back into Westrun, we'll get some more Dresvina stuff. And maybe that'll, confirm or deny some of this shit. Maybe. We'll see. But I think that's probably enough for today. I've already blown way past my soft stop. So I definitely need to stop. This is supposed to be a voice resting day. So I appreciate you all joining. I hope that you had some fun. I hope that you liked to watch me flounder my theories. And I think we'll do more of these. I think I like this. Thank you so much for the stream and the great convos. Yeah, no problem, Ink Charm. See you later. See you guys. I think I like this. I think this might be a more regular members only thing. And I might just take the note taking out of or take the notes organization part out of the stream and make it like a members only thing. I liked it. Anyways, I will see you all later. Peace. And I will see you tomorrow for episode 48. Goodbye.